This is Cynthia Sue Larson with RealityShifters.com, and today I'd like to talk with you about the Mandela Effect mindset and books. And the mindset is one that I've been talking about this year in 2019. We've seen it in some scientific experiments that are showing that there might be no such thing as objective reality, that subjective observations of experimental apparatus are showing us without any further doubt that you can have two observers at the same place at the same time witnessing two totally different things. We know this from a quantum physics experiment that happened in 2019. It was conducted in collaboration between researchers at the University of Vienna, Austria, and researchers at Edinburgh, Scotland's university as well. So what they noticed is with the double slit experiment, they had two experimental devices hooked up to the experimental apparatus, able to show and bring back two very different reports of what had just transpired at the exact same place and exact same time. So without a doubt, this is mind-blowing. This should have been the front page news story of the year, in my opinion, that we do not have any kind of objective reality out there that is one timeline that we came from, that kind of thing, that your correct reality, that kind of thing. So instead of thinking that way, this opens up a whole new way of viewing the world based on quantum physics, based on experiments that we are now seeing. And that's good news for those of us like myself who have been researching this phenomenon for a long time. And I've been reading a book which I want to share with you. It's called Lost Knowledge of the Imagination by Gary Lachman. And this book, he covers a lot of the work of various scientists who got breakthroughs, usually due to the fact that there was no separation between the knower and the known. And he covers the scholarly background behind that and some of the work of people like Henri Corbin, and he's the gentleman that showed us that there is such a thing as an imaginal realm where there may be no out there, but there's this connection that we can feel. And researchers, scientists like Goethe, the poet and scientist, he was very much tuned into this as well. A lot of people were, and this book describes the journey of through history. It's a fabulous book just to cover the history of Western thought and how we used to have a very poetic use of the language. The poetry turned into prose, and then it got really creaky and crusty and crotchety and kind of stalactites. It became kind of calcified and frozen in time. So our language belies the fact that at one point all of humanity worldwide was able to dream a common dream. So we'd have these cave paintings we're finding in Indonesia, for example, where people are wearing animal-like costumes. In my way of viewing, they are actually experiencing what it's like to share consciousness with other beings in this universe. In my book, Reality Shifts, I think I've talked about this before, I cover the idea of lucid living, starting with the idea of lucid dreaming first, that you can wake up inside of a dream and you can start noticing, I think this is a dream. And as soon as you know that you're dreaming, you can wake up in that dream. And that gives you this awareness of being unseparated from what you are able to ask questions about and learn about in the dream. And in my book, Reality Shifts, I describe how you can live that way, like it's a waking dream. Some of the wonderful authors that I got to meet in Idaho at the Mandela Effect Conference include author Anthony Santasuso. He wrote Mind Beyond Matter, The Mandela Effect, and he describes very dreamlike experiences of his where he averted almost certain catastrophe and perhaps death just by being able to take advantage of this mindset of this awareness that you can know things sometimes that are beyond knowing, take action that seems incredible. This book by Lauren Cannell-Pavelka is The Mandela Effect or The Miracle Effect, 13 Reasons Why I Am the Wolf and You Are Too. She gave a talk at the conference and did an interview as well, and her book describes this miraculous state of being that we can access where healing is possible. I describe this also in my book, Reality Shifts. Yes, miracles are possible with the Mandela Effect. And this mindset is also showing up in the book Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe. And Shane C. Robinson was at our conference in Idaho. His co-authors for this book include Eileen Colts, Paulo Pinto, and Vanessa V.A. And this book also shares insights of 4 different people with their very lucid descriptions of what the Mandela Effect means to them. So if I hold all these books up and just see if I can get them together, then you can see, well, only 4 of these 5 books specifically touch on what we now know of the Mandela Effect. We call it the Mandela Effect. We call it reality shifts, quantum jumps, and so forth. This other book here in the front, Lost Knowledge of the Imagination, I include it today because I'm so impressed with the way that it shows that we absolutely can harness this subjective experience, this subjective reality. That's the true reality. Subjective because it's personal, subjective because it matters who each of us really are and how we interact with everyone and everything around us. That is profound, and that's the question I'd like to leave all of us with as we close out the end of this year and start the next new year. How good can it get with this awareness that we are living in a very subjective reality, like a waking dream, where our thoughts and feelings can be intimately connected with everyone and everything around us. Till next time, this is Cynthia Sue Larson with realityshifters.com. Thanks so much.